So obviously at the beginning of Creative Nature we were making bars in the kitchen, we were packing products out back in the warehouse, it was all a bit messy. What advice would you give to startups who are just starting out in that very tiny stage that they're looking to grow? What can they do to then grow into a small, medium and then essentially a large business?
Well, I think to begin with, they need to start at the end of the day. Like, a lot of startups expect it to outsource straight away, and that's just not. It's probably not going to happen unless they have a lot of funding behind them and investment, or they've got their own money to put in. You can start anywhere, like we did. We started in the kitchen. We started packing ourselves. Yes, it was messy, and granted, it's not the most ideal way to start, but that way you get your own, like, you're actually doing it, so you've done every single job in your business and you know it from like scratch, and that way you understand when you are going to hire people what they're going to actually have to do. So I think it helps you understand how long it takes for you to do the job, and also it enables you to do small quantities. So, for example, a outsourced packing manufacturer might ask you for a minimum 5,000, sometimes 10, even 20 sometimes. But you can't do that as a startup. You can't afford to put that much money into packaging and ingredients, etc. You just don't have it. So if you do start small, you can buy ingredients from shops, make your product, and then actually go out there and test it in the market without having to do so much development.
Because you're not going to sell 5,000 in your first order, are you?
Probably not, but you never know.
Yeah. Okay, so startups shouldn't be scared to just start small.
Yeah.
They shouldn't think, oh, straight away I need to go out and find a massive factory that's going to pack all my products, because they pack for the likes of Cadbury's and Kellogg's already. So they can just start in their kitchen, do small runs. Would you say build a local base or start national, or how would they go about then selling their products into places?
I think it depends. I think for us, because we were in losses, we took a different route. But I think if you're completely starting up as a new, it would be good to build a local base, because then you get people who really love you and your product and your brand behind you, and getting the local base is going to be easier because you can explain your story and how you've sourced locally and how you live around the area, and people will buy into that, which will make it easier to sell. Then going a bit wider, once you've got your hub, will give you the confidence and the experience behind it to be able to do that. Obviously, with a national listing, you've got a lot of infrastructure to put in place before you do it. We didn't, as you know, and we had 3 weeks to scale up, and it was pretty much a nightmare. But like every entrepreneur, they find a way to do it. So I think for national listings, make sure you've looked into it. You've looked into having overflow warehouses so that you don't get fined per product, because at times big supermarkets can put into place these fines, which you will not have put into your margins either. So it's very important when giving them a bottom line price, you've put that into that as well.
Yeah. Okay, so start off maybe in farmers markets, because they cost, I think it's around £20 for a table in a farmer's market, and then you can sell your wares locally. And then, yeah, when you're scaling up to someone like Tesco that we had, you need to make sure that you've got the transport sort of side of things sorted, because obviously when the truck came along to pick up our pallets, we couldn't get them on the lorry. So I guess a lot of small companies won't have their own forklift trucks. They might not have access for a big Arctic truck to come in. So it's things like that, isn't it, that you've got to think about before trying to scale up to national scale.
Yeah, and what makes it easy to do that is if you actually physically do like a flow like diagram, and you say right from scratch. It sounds stupid, but like not knowing that we had a forklift, in the back of our mind we knew that, but we didn't actually think about it until the trucks were actually there. But if we had probably done a plan, we would have figured out, okay, no, this is what I actually need to fulfill it, but we didn't actually do that.
Yeah. Okay.
There's never a lack of money, it's always a lack of resource, and that's how to be resourceful at the end of the day. Entrepreneurs are always going, I don't have enough money, but it's just because they haven't looked on where to pull upon that money in their business. So when you're a startup, I think it's important that you can outsource certain things that you're not good at. For example, I spent a lot of time doing admin work, which I didn't really need to do. Okay, yes, I was okay at it and I could get it done, but really was that the best way to spend my time? So I think it's important that you can go out there and you can get these VAs or PAs that you can get online, and you can just send them the work to do, and they will input everything on the system. So that's a tool that entrepreneurs can use.
And then, in terms of outsourcing, what would you say is the most important rule to follow when you look at outsourcing? I'd say mainly the production side of things rather than office side.
I think it's the people behind it. I think you need to have a really strong relationship with the company that you're going to be outsourcing to.
Yeah.
Make sure that their team is all on board with them. We had a lot of meetings. If you want to expand on.
And then we had a very bad experience with the first company that we outsourced to, didn't we? So
yeah.
It's all about, if you don't be afraid to move, I would say, if things aren't going how you want them to go when you do find someone to outsource to, don't think that that's it, that's the only person that you can use. If things go wrong, if they don't get on with you as a company, if they go against what you've asked them to do, which is what happened in our case, you can just move. You can find someone else. You can get everything onto a couple of lorries. I think we had 2 full lorries worth of product that we had to move from the Midlands all the way over to Wales. So it was tough, but we did it in a week, and I think we were all set up. So we only had downtime for a week, didn't we, when we moved production over?
Yeah, and you have to weigh up, I guess, that downtime for a week for the lifespan of the company. It's a lot better. You need to be able to have the confidence to do that though, and the way you can get that is from meeting the new team that you're going to outsource to, making sure that they have confidence in your product and that you have confidence that they will deliver.
I think it's important to do spot checks on your outsourced facilities, which is what we did, which is where we found that we had to move immediately. So don't tell them that you're coming to see them, just drop by, say hi, say can I see the factory, can I see what my products are doing, and then you'll gauge an idea of whether they're doing what you want them to do, or whether they're just doing it all for show, whether they're doing it when you come up for an official meeting, whether they're putting all the bells and whistles onto your products.
Exactly, and that's so important, because with dealing with food, obviously you have to have all the certification in place, and I think that's important that you take charge of that rather than letting them tell you what certification they have. It's important that you go to them and say, right, I need my product's organic, I need you to be organically certified, I need BRC, I need SALSA, whatever it may be that your product needs. It's important that you do the research beforehand and you take that to them. Don't leave it up to them.
And treat your outsourced facility as an arm of the business. Don't just think that that's them doing it, that's great, I can leave them to it and they'll get on with it. You've got to treat them as if they're your own staff as well, don't you? So you've got to manage them as if you were managing the people in your own office, even though they're hundreds of miles away.
Exactly, because essentially they are. And as with us, we hire people in, and it's really important that you actually have a handle on that, because like you said, if you let them go and do whatever they want and they have no steering of direction, they're not going to do their jobs, they're not going to be able to be motivated to do it either.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for listening to my interview with Julianne Ponan, owner and CEO of Creative Nature Superfoods. Please follow her on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Julianne Ponan. The spelling will be in the comments down below, and also sign up to her newsletter and you can click the link below.